Hey everyone, Pastor Wes here with you on Wednesday night, the last Wednesday night of this year. I hope your Christmas was good. Hope you got to spend time with your family. Here in just the next few days, people are going to be making all kinds of changes, or at least hoping to make changes in their life. We call them New Year's resolution. And so for the next week or so, I want to talk to you for just a little bit about believing for change. I don't know anyone that at some point hasn't faced difficulty in their life, challenges, adversities where the choices were very few and the solutions were difficult. Sometimes adversities can be handled with hard work. Sometimes the things that we face in life take a little more than hard work. It takes a little bit of creativity. And then there are some times where neither hard work nor creativity will get us through, and it takes an act of God. I was reading not too long ago about Booker T. Washington, a man who believed in hard work, a man that was born a plantation slave, and as a child he carried the books of his master's children. And Washington was a man that loved to learn. Although he wasn't allowed to own books, he wasn't allowed to attend places of higher learning, he became a self-educated man, and ultimately through hard work he became a wealthy landowner. He became a founder, or the founder, of an institution and an advisor to two United States presidents, Theodore Roosevelt and William Howard Taft. He was a man who influenced many people, and perhaps without a doubt he is probably one of the most significant African Americans in the history of the United States. He was a hard-working man who found that to get through the adversities of life, sometimes it takes very hard work. Then there are other times, as I said just a moment ago, that it takes more than hard work. It takes creativity. And I like the story of a man named Dale Galloway, and he told in his book, Dream a New Dream, that there was a man who owned a little store back east. And in his store, he sold some groceries, he sold pharmaceuticals and other little needs, and he had a good business until urban renewal moved in and threatened the business that he had. And he watched each day as the bulldozers would come in and they would take out the old buildings, and in their place was this beautiful new grocery store. Bulldozers continued on the other side of him, knocking down homes, and there was a discount store that was built on the other side of him where people could buy more for less. And the man went home very discouraged, knowing that there was no way his business was ever going to be seen in the shadow of these two huge empires, if you will, these two huge buildings. And then he got an idea. He would spend his life savings on a sign, and it was a sign that was going to be as big as his store. He would have the finest company in town make it, and the sign only had 3 words on it, but those 3 words were 3 words that revolutionized his business. In bright, bold letters, the sign read, "Main entrance here." Sometimes it takes hard work. Sometimes it takes creativity. And then there are some times where it takes an act of God. And I want to read a story to you from John chapter 4, because that's exactly where we find this man. There's no amount of money that's going to solve this man's problem. There's no amount of hard work that's going to solve it. And there's no amount of creativity that's going to solve it. It's going to take an act of God to heal this man's dying son. And as we look at him, we're going to learn some lessons on faith over the next week or so. In John chapter 4, beginning in verse 43, the Bible says this: "Now after 2 days he departed thence, and he went into Galilee. For Jesus himself testified that a prophet hath no honor in his own country. Then when he is come into Galilee, the Galileans received him, having seen all the things that he did at Jerusalem at the feast, for they also went unto the feast. So Jesus came again into Cana of Galilee, where he made the water wine, and there was a certain nobleman whose son was sick at Capernaum. When he heard that Jesus was come out of Judea into Galilee, he went unto him and besought him that he would come down and heal his son, for he was at the point of death. Then Jesus said unto him, Except ye see signs and wonders, you will not believe. The nobleman saith unto him, Sir, come down, or my child die. Jesus saith unto him, Go thy way, thy son liveth. And the man believed the word that Jesus had spoken unto him, and he went his way. And as he was now going down, his servants met him and told him, saying, Thy son liveth. Then inquired he of them the hour when he began to amend. And they said unto him, Yesterday at the 7th hour the fever left him. So the father knew that it was at the same hour in which Jesus said unto him, Thy son liveth. and himself believed and his whole house. This is again the second miracle that Jesus did when he was come out of Judea into Galilee. I think it's important that we go to God with our problems. No doubt about it. But go to God for more than just your problems. So many people only want God as the problem solver of their life. Every time they get into trouble, every time they do something they shouldn't do, every time they listen to bad advice or bad counsel and make bad decisions and find themselves in an errant path, they run to God to fix everything. They'll say, God, if you'll just get me out of this problem, if you'll just heal this person. So many times I've heard people make that statement, you know, if God would heal this person, then I would believe I'd serve God if he would heal me. God, if you'll just give me this job, if you'll just give me this relationship or give me this relationship back. The good news is that God answers prayer, no doubt about it. God hears our prayer and God answers our prayer. But if who God is means less to you than what God can do for you, then you've missed the message entirely. And that's where we're going to pick back up next week. Let me say that one more time. If who God is means less to you than what God can do for you, then you've missed the message. We'll talk about it next week. Until then, I hope you have a great rest of your week. Happy New Year early. We'll see you next Wednesday night.